state doesn't require to be severe end stage.
Representative Newton. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were through.
You know, I hear your concerns, but I think we've got a great commission here that's been in place, got a group here that has got a track record of conservative pathway for this drugs, and I just trust that I think they will in the ensuing year or two or whatever this committee can always come back with legislation to change it. But I just think it's time to give somebody some pathway to give information to the patients.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I am not trying to be difficult, and Chairman Dickey, I'm not trying to do anything. But before we had the meeting last week, I'm very concerned about patients, and that they just think this is the panacea, that they reject going for medical care. And when it advertises, I just had problems with it, and I've had from the beginning. And they started with the very first hearing we ever had. And there was a father in the room who had a 10-day-old in intensive care with seizures. And he wanted that baby to have, before it had any medical care, before they tried any other way to stop the seizures, he wanted that baby to have marijuana. And that, this kind of thing. And so this comes from, and as I walked down the hall last week before they had this meeting, this is where this concern is coming from. I had a lobbyist tell me that basically this bill is because we allowed several companies to produce this drug, that they have invested in the state, and they are producing so much that there's nobody to buy it. And so therefore, it is not profitable to their company. Do you understand what I'm getting at? So they are looking at ways to just really push it to make money. And when we first passed this bill, and when it finally passed, it was the consensus of many of us that we never wanted to go down the road to having legalization of marijuana in our state. And so all of them, we've got a company producing. One company right now is producing enough for everybody in this state to be on it. And we have 3 companies. So they've invested in the state, they're producing it, and they don't have enough customers. And so my fear was this was the first step. This is my fear, but I know a lot about healthcare and about patients. And that is why I'm questioning. I'm not trying to give you a hard time, and I know, Chairman Dickey, that you would not do anything to intentionally hurt patients, but that's my fear.
Well, I can't allow your fears. I mean, that's been the case for 10 years, ever since Alan Peake first brought this, and that's why we got physicians prescribing this product. You got to get a physician engaging with the patient to know whether this product would be appropriate, whether it would.
It's
for
not
the
about
patient. So, that's my fallback is instead of the patient going out to the smoke shop in the shopping center looking for products that hadn't been tested, don't know what the heck they are, let them know to go to a physician and get this prescribed if this product is appropriate for them. Is my whole point of this.
Chairman,
I don't know anything about the companies. This bill doesn't have anything to do with all the with all the licensees. It doesn't even go there. So it's just about the conditions and the patient and the name of the thing. So
not when
Representative Cooper, let me interrupt. I'm sorry. I've got a lot of lights.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, Representative Newton.
Chairman Dickey, and I do appreciate the changes you guys have made on this. I think you did address a lot of my same concerns that Chairman Cooper has mentioned, which is advertising the public, trying to appear that you're trying to grow the program, if you will, because there are, quote, not enough people, and you got all these suppliers. A couple of things, just specific points on line 242. This is the part, there's two different kind of public awareness things. There's what the commission can do, which you said is obviously limited by what we appropriate for the commission. I have a little question on with the word effective, because if you flip over again, over on the next page is what the licensees can do. It says they can't do something that's unsupported by reliable scientific evidence. The challenge I have is, other than intractable seizures and a little bit of chemotherapy nausea, there really is, I mean, it's a Schedule I product. Nobody's studied it in any NIH receiving facility, so there is no, there's not a lot of evidence. And so I don't know how you say we're not going to let anything out there that talks about the effective uses. I would rather that effective over here on the commission itself. I would rather them have to have things that was supported by reliable scientific studies. I do, however, appreciate when you took advertising to the public and you narrowed it to the physicians. Well, it was already to physicians. You narrowed it to registered patients and their caregivers. To me, you dramatically narrowed and put guardrails up on this bill that make it, it allayed many of my concerns that it was going to be a growth industry effort, economic development, if you will, and it was going to be out there listing to patients, going on social media to my kids and grandkids, that hey, if you got sickle cell, or if you got lupus, or if you got pain or PTSD possibly, you know, we can get you some medical cannabis to try. I'm glad you narrowed it significantly. I think you made it much. You're down to 20,000 people in Georgia instead of 11 million.
Yeah.
And I think this has very little. I hope there's going to be minimal advertising, because reliable scientific evidence is just not out there.
Yeah.
And I hope that the commission has a high standard both for their own use of this effective word, and also for the for the not supported by, or is supported by, reliable scientific evidence. I appreciate you doing that.
Would you could council say one more comment? I think.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the word effective, I think, so right now the commission already does some outreach, but on our own initiative. We're technically not required to educate about the program, but we feel so strongly to educate these patients on where to go legally that we took it upon ourselves without asking for funds. And we just did it. We were tired of hearing calls from patients just confused, and then we got confused, and 20,000 may not seem like a lot, but those are lives. We want to help people. So what we are doing now is we're educating about the program. We think it's important that that's a duty in the law. Whether we're still here, new commission members, that needs to happen no matter what. And that helps keep it as a medical program. On the effective part, I think that looks more so into the future. The HOPE Act looks at universities like UGA, Fort Valley, to do research. And once they kind of enter that space, and there are some discussions, once they enter that space on research, then we can partner with them to talk about their studies on how it may be effective. So I think that language is more so future forward looking, and that's to help us partner with USG and TCSD institutions.
If you don't mind. All right. Since you brought that up, just one quick thing, and you made a great point about this is to patients and their caregivers, and physicians. Would you be willing to limit the Cannabis Commission's public awareness to that same group you just described, which is helping people who already have a card, not looking like you're trying to go expand the universe of people with a card. You describe a very real problem, and if there was a way to limit this public awareness to where it really wasn't to the general public, it's really to the people who need to know, and it's not a way to advertise and grow the program. It's just to inform and to solve those problems you perfectly well mentioned.
So I will say that we are already kind of conservative in our approach. We don't have ads. We're not doing mass advertising about the program. I'm going to respectfully say no, because it's going to take away what we're doing now. So we actually teach a post-certified course to law enforcement. And we have partnered with different local and state groups to tell law enforcement, hey, if someone has a card, these are products that they can have on them. Anything else, that's not legal. We also educate attorneys, so public defenders, DAs, so that if someone is seen with something or they have this insane amount of marijuana, when they call us or look at our class and it's certified, you get credits for this, for their law license, for their post credits. They get credit for that. And we're actually, we're in communications right now with the medical board to also look at maybe creating some kind of CME to educate physicians on how to best treat their patients and what that treatment plan should look like. We also partner with GMA and ACCG to educate local government about the stores. There's some zoning concerns involved. So if we limit it to just patients with cards, we would pretty much take away 80% of our outreach now.
Okay. Representative Silcox.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to say that I do have a friend currently that has cancer that has been taking medical cannabis, and it's been very effective to relieve their nausea, and I appreciate that. I would like to see y'all asking for research dollars for the University of Georgia and Fort Valley, because I really do think it would be great. The greatest thing you could do for your product is to get that scientific evidence that all of these conditions, not just seizures and chemotherapy, that they really are effective on all those levels, because I think that's really important to have the proof.
Thank you for sharing that. And we are talking with those institutions. We can't share too much, but we are talking with them.
I know that marijuana is still Schedule 1 drug, right? And so that's the prohibition now on the research.
Yeah, some individuals are at least interested, and
Okay.
some are looking for ways to still do state-funded research to
Okay.
not implicate some of those federal concerns.
And I guess I was hoping that because this is medical cannabis and not straight marijuana, that maybe y'all could get under the wire.
Yeah, federal government has no regard to medical use. I mean, that's just that issue. They're going
Okay.
through stuff now, but we are talking with those institutions, and there is interest. It's just
Great.
going through to make sure that they're protected.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Douglas.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've listened to the other committee when you just came in. It was just a hearing only, and you have corrected and amended this bill, your bill, to all of the things that wanted to be added or omitted in your bill. So I think when you give people license, this is any business, and you don't give them the tools to get better at their job, then we have a serious problem. And we're lawmakers. If it doesn't work, we can come back next year and change it. But give them the necessary tools to further along the study of what they've done in our state to make it amenable. Because everybody is hurting in some way. And for the most vulnerable, the word speaks about the people that's among us that's the most vulnerable, that need help, and we have the ability to give help, and we don't want to do it. And so until you're affected personally, somebody in your family needs it, then you want to make a change. That's right. So let's do it now. So, Mr. Chairman, at the appropriate time, I'd like to make a motion.
Yeah, we got a few more questions.
Okay.
Some folks to speak. Thank you, though.
Yes, sir.
Who do we have now? Representative Davis, are you three? Yeah, you're three.
Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah.
My father is a Vietnam vet and has PTSD, and I didn't really realize how much of a problem we have until he came to me and he said, I don't know where to go to get any type of medication or the different oils that he wants. I mean, he didn't have a clue. And he said, well, you're up there at that Capitol. Why don't you tell me? And I'm like I know. I mean, really. And then when you go to the corner gas stations, I mean, they selling everything.